Trump is threatening to not sign any legislation until the SAVE Act becomes law. With him writing yesterday, it must be done immediately. It supersedes everything else. Must go to the front of the line. I, as president, will not sign other bills until this is passed. And the SAVE Act, as you likely know, because we've been talking about it so much, it mandates stricter voting registration and ID policies. It requires voters to prove their citizenship with documents like a passport or birth certificate, even though it's already illegal for non-citizens to vote in federal elections. And again, no matter how much Trump tries to peddle conspiracies about it, non-citizen voting is incredibly rare. So, some fear that this isn't really going to help with election integrity, and instead it's actually going to hurt it. Because in a number of ways, it would actually make it harder for eligible citizens to vote. Among other things, only half of Americans have a passport, and the process to get one can be lengthy and costly. There's also the huge crackdown on mail-in voting, but still, it passed the Republican-controlled House last month, and now it sits in the Senate's hands. And Trump has made it incredibly clear that he wants the Senate to move, telling the chamber to focus exclusively on this act if necessary. He even previously said that he'd close the government over the SAVE Act because it's such a high priority, and he added yesterday, and not the watered down version. Go for the gold. Must show voter ID and proof of citizenship. No mail-in ballots except for military, illness, disability, travel. And then saying for this thing that's supposed to be about election integrity, no men and women's sports, no transgender mutilization for children, do not fail. Right, and those last provisions there regarding trans athletes and gender reassignment surgery, they were notably not even in the version signed by the House, so he's asking for even more to go in a new bill, which many see as an incredibly big ask considering the odds in the Senate are tough. Right, Democrats largely don't support it, and Republicans only have a razor-thin majority, and they need 60 votes to get it passed. And while Trump's previously urged his party to get rid of the filibuster to pass it, Majority Leader John Thune has pushed back on those calls. Right, then on top of that, some Republicans have even spoken out against the act, saying that they're unwilling to pass it in its current form. And so you had Minority Leader Chuck Schumer seeing Trump's legislative threat and writing, "The SAVE Act is Jim Crow 2.0. It would disenfranchise tens of millions of people. If Trump is saying he won't sign any bills until the SAVE Act is passed, then so be it. There will be total gridlock in the Senate. Senate Democrats will not help pass the SAVE Act under any circumstances." With then other lawmakers slamming Trump for putting this so high on his to-do list, arguing, nothing to lower grocery prices, nothing to lower gas bills, nothing to lower housing prices. The president says he won't make life easier until he makes it harder for you to vote. And then some arguing that Trump's pose could mean a longer shutdown for the Department of Homeland Security. You may have forgotten because it feels like it's faded to like a background C plot, but there's been a partial government shutdown impacting DHS for a few weeks now. Funding ran out in mid-February as Democrats refused to line the department's pockets anymore until there are meaningful reforms to ICE's operations. But with that, TSA also falls under the DHS umbrella. And while TSA staff are considered essential and they work during the shutdown, they're not getting paid. And so this weekend, we saw tons of travel issues tied to shortages of security staff and major airports reporting incredibly long lines. As of this morning, New Orleans said that wait times could be up to 2 hours. Houston's website estimates that its security line is about 3 hours. And so, some people have missed their flights because of the chaos, and airports are warning passengers to get to the airports incredibly early to handle these wait times. Now, for its part, the Trump administration has blamed Democrats for the shutdown and any effects it has, accusing what they call the radical left of playing politics with their homeland security. But one, Democrats have defended their choice, saying that it's on Republicans to agree to ICE reforms, which American citizens largely support. And two, you also have people arguing that Trump and Republicans are playing politics just the same, especially now that Trump's threatening to not sign any legislation until the SAVE Act passes. And so you have some wondering where Trump actually draws the line there. Or would he go so far as to not sign any potential future DHS funding if the SAVE Act is still sitting in the Senate? And as the shutdowns lingered, we've seen the travel industry urging both sides to get back to negotiating, arguing that TSA should not have to work without pay so soon after the nation's longest government shutdown, especially since so many of them can't afford to miss paychecks, which is then forcing them to call out so they can get other gigs to pay their bills in the meantime. And so you have people like the CEO of the U.S. Travel Association saying it's not just unfair, it's reckless. You can't run an industry with $3 trillion in economic impact on IOUs. And also the CEO of Airlines for America arguing, we are in spring break travel season and expecting record numbers of people to take to the skies. Airlines have done their part to prepare. Now Congress and the administration must act with urgency to reach a deal that reopens DHS and ends this shutdown. America's transportation security workforce is too important to be used as political leverage. But for now, we'll have to wait to see if all these travel disruptions force Congress to negotiate further, if Republicans will agree to any ICE reforms, and how long Democrats are going to hold out. And then also, if a deal is reached between both parties for funding, will he sign it if the SAVE Act has not been signed? With so many unknowns, we move our eyes forward to the week ahead.